All right, so outside of all the gaffes that Joe Biden has been making recently and will likely continue to make, he also recently came out and posted an article about the AB5 law in California. For anyone who doesn't remember, this is the law that puts contract labor under the same umbrella as being an employee. So if you're a freelance writer, you'll receive the same benefits as someone who was hired outright. This would, of course, add a great deal of costs to businesses like Uber and Lyft, or a business like Vox, who has or had many freelance journalists, many of which they had to let go because of this law, even though they supported the law, which just goes to show that they have no idea what the implications for a law like this will be. But apparently Joe Biden has no idea either. It's obvious that this law has caused a great deal of pain to the businesses and the freelancers those businesses usually hired. A little bit of evidence of how much this law hurts lies in the fact that there was a petition for businesses to receive exemptions from this law, and the petition hit 1 million signatures. That is quite significant. And here's Joe Biden saying that despite the fact that this received 1 million signatures, we can't undermine this groundbreaking legislation. So I guess that favorite party line about, this is what the people want, which is a loaded saying, but it doesn't really mean much unless it's what the politicians want as well. People were severely hurt by this legislation. Their job, their security, their income, all of this was put into jeopardy or killed outright by this law, and they rightfully want the law to be ended or for it to not apply to them, and Joe Biden just can't seem to wrap his head around why they might want this. And this makes me shift focus for a moment when it comes to Joe Biden, because there's been a lot of talk about his cognitive decline, and that certainly is very important. I've talked about it. It's all over the news. I can see why people find that to be newsworthy, considering it puts his electability into the gutter. But it's stuff like this that makes you remember, not only can this guy barely string a sentence together, he's also about as politician-like as they come. Here's a law where the very people it was intended to help are screaming out against it, begging the government to stop trying to help in this regard because it's making them unaffordable to those businesses who may have potentially hired them. And I don't expect someone like Joe Biden or Bernie Sanders to ever turn into a free market capitalist supporter that reads Murray Rothbard on the weekend, but how obvious does it need to be that this law hurts far more than it helps? How obvious does it need to be that when you increase the price of something, in this case increasing the price of labor, that people and businesses will conserve on it and not purchase so much of it? This can be boiled down to what you might learn in Econ 101, and it's stunning how it just evades the minds of people like Joe Biden and whatever other busybody politician you want to mention. Joe Biden is just out of touch, out of step. He doesn't know what he's talking about, doesn't even know where he is half the time, and I'm still at a loss as to how the Democratic Party and the people in the Democratic Party ever thought that this was a good idea to have this guy represent them. But anyway, like, subscribe, share, all that stuff, and take it easy.